Welcome one and all, whoever may be watching this, part 26, Tides of Numenéra. Just want to give a shout out to everyone who's been watching. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it in any way, shape or form.
Yes, now.
Look ma, no hands. Oh, Min Lai Tang. Isn't that the dude from the Order of Truth?
Yes, now.
Unending, unchanged, yet to begin, before now, time, now before time, empty words to fill an unremarkable void. Entropy is the only truth to remain unchanged. Semja Terebra. Sorry, I mispronounced that atrociously. I feel like there has to be more to this room than meets the eye.
Fine.
Maybe there's a quest related to it or something. How do you plan to stop me? Through words and Sorcian. I hope it won't come to violence. My fragile bones aren't good for that. Interesting.
I'm ready. Yes.
Alright, well, I'll head off into the first cast-off's tomb. Okay.
Yes.
The carvings here display two figures standing side by side on a crag overlooking a plateau with a wide disc at its center. The scene is familiar. A wave of dizziness envelops you and you steady yourself against the rough stone. This does not help. The memory flows through the stone in rumbling pulses, overtaking your senses. Yes, this scene is familiar because you experienced it firsthand when you rebuilt your mind in the labyrinth, and now here the full memory awaits you. Okay, I'll succumb to it, but if I lose any health... The memory of that long day pours past you, cold as melting snow. You direct the first cast-off's gaze towards the resource-rich plateau where Mia Leveste will one day stand. Oh, I see. You ignore the laughter in her eyes when your own constructs turn on you and make the necessary repairs. And then the rush of time slows as she makes her way up a moss-hung path towards you, her eyes bright behind the mask. I have something to show you, she says. You follow her to a deactivated portal. I've got it working, she says. The doorway exists in two places at once, here and on the other side, once you align them. She lays her hands and forehead against the stone as though worshipping the thing. Your lip curls involuntarily and you can't fault the results. The portal activates, answering the welling glow of the first cast-off's tattoo beneath her mask. The flood of memory slows to a trickle, leaving you back in your body. You look over at the mural. Could it be the way to open the portal? I'm assuming yes.
On it.
A bewildering array of colliding jagged edges and mangled corpses make up this frieze. It's not quite clear whether the artist was inspired, drunk, or insane. A battlefield is depicted here, that much is certain. but the amount of detail is staggering, and it isn't immediately apparent what the artist was trying to convey. The first detail you notice is the fortress standing out from the wall in bold relief. Many of the soldiers shown are pouring through the sundered gates, and every one of their faces shows a different emotion: elation, rage, terror. But it is the jagged edges, seemingly raised at random, that pull your attention down to the bottom right of the piece. There lies the first cast-off of the changing god, mortally wounded, dying alone as divergent realities snap shut around her like teeth. Her voice is contemplative. I love this piece. Last time I came back to Miel Vest, I stood here for an hour. I like to think that she is suffering as much as she caused Neng to suffer. More. Was that what actually happened now, though? Doesn't matter. It happened in some reality. Why do you still harbor that hate? I worry that it poisons you. She shrugs. It might, but when the only family you ever knew gets slaughtered in front of you, I invite you to take the long view. Practice some forgiveness. Pretend that the people who did it had good reasons for it. She crosses her arms. Lecture all you want. I'm still laughing about her death, even after all these years. Okay. I'm intrigued by what the masks are supposed to represent.
Yes. Making a note.
Stark letters have been carved into the rock above with a steady hand. Sharp memories emerge at the sight of the masked figure in the tableau. The first cast-off. Countless footsteps have worn a track to, and apparently into, this mural. This is a gateway of some kind, but you can see no way of opening it. What this is, Makina puts her hands up against the wall, searching for something. Someone closed the portal from the other side. I don't know how to wake it back up. Why would they lock us all out? The sorrow. Could it be? You look around the area. Maybe examining the environment will give you some sort of clue. Haha, I already know. I'm a smart cookie. Oddly, many of the words above are completely unreadable. It's not that they're in a language you don't understand. It's truth, and you recognize every letter. Every time you try to pull it all together, the meaning slips from your mind. Maybe part of the epitaph isn't meant for you. Your eyes skip to the end of the message. She serves us still. Makina spits on the ground beside her feet. Come on, we need to get in there. Alright, put my forehead against the door. You lay your hand on the cold stone as the first cast-off once did and press your forehead against the mural. The skin around your tattoo crawls, then burns, but even with your eyes clenched shut, you feel the air of the tomb stirring. Oh, okay, I thought there'd be some kind of dialogue.
All right. I'm ready to learn something new.
This woman is dressed in functional glaive's clothing. Her hair is cut short, and her face is muscular and tense. You recognize her instantly from Tasha's Mia, Page Reckon. She spares you but a moment's appraising glance before turning to your companion. Makina, you've come crawling back. Didn't you swear you'd never return here, or had you forgotten? I did promise. Then I remembered that none of you have ever bothered keeping your vows to me, so what's the point? Anyway, what have you been up to? Burning a few villages full of innocent civilians? Or have you graduated to grander atrocities? I'd kill her right here if I thought I could get away with it another time. Just trying to keep our creator, the coward, from committing any more of his war crimes as usual. Looking at the larger picture instead of serving my own self-interest. Maybe someday you'll learn how to do that, though considering your friend here just muscled her way through the locked portal, making our sanctuary even more vulnerable to the sorrow, I don't think it's likely. She turns to you. You know you're traveling with a traitor, right? You can read no thoughts from her. They're muffled as though something were interfering with them. I know you. I know what you did at Colne Village. Oh, Makina told you. What a surprise. She's generally so quiet about her feelings. She adjusts her sword belt. Colne was a pity, a tragedy, but it had to happen that way. I've been a warrior for most of my centuries. I know about making sacrifices in the service of a higher ideal. I've stopped losing sleep over them. Live long enough and you'll understand. It had to happen that way? What about letting the villagers survive? Do you realize what we lost that night? Do you realize what we gained? You weren't there. You've never even met them before, but you think to judge my actions of 200 years ago. The stakes here are more important than a few monsters. We're fighting for our survival, you damned infant, and I won't let you moralize at me while I'm trying to save your life. That's almost the same speech you gave me then. Glad to see you're consistent. She holds up a hand. No, sorry, I'm done. Please ask Paj your questions. See if you get any answers. What did you mean when you said I'd made the sanctuary more vulnerable? There are rumors that sorrow activity has increased recently. I don't buy the stories, but many of them do. She points a thumb behind her to the other cast-offs. Your brothers and sisters, your family, even if the sorrow isn't more active, it's still active, and they came here to be safe. She sighs. I can feel your tides. I know you believe you're doing the right thing, but let me tell you this. Sometimes blindly rushing in to help people does more harm than good. The portal was sealed for a reason. Have some empathy. Be that as it may, I have important information to share. Not with me. I'm not interested in what you have to say, frankly, and I have a great deal of work waiting for me. If you want to express your delight in your new life or share a moment of happy fraternity with your siblings, I suggest you go talk to Adiris. She'll give you the validation you seem to require. I need to find Mazov. Is he here?
Making a note.
Her eyes narrow. No one has seen Mazov in over a decade. Adiris might know where he is. Talk to her. Her voice softens. Adiris might be the best of us. Treat her well, or I'll be sure you pay in blood and pain. You called Makina a traitor, why? Oh, she didn't tell you? She used to be under my command, but she turned on me, preferring to befriend monsters in human skin. And rather than step aside for the greater good, she attacked her fellow fighters. Tell me, what would you call someone who turns on her own? Actually, never mind, I don't care. What crimes has our creator committed? Do you want a full litany? Ask someone else, because I haven't gotten the years to spare. The worst one is that he had plans to kill us, to sacrifice us to save his life. The first found out and took a stand to stop him. But she's dead now, we're stuck with me commanding in her memory. And meanwhile, sycophants and lick-spittles work for him for the privilege of being destroyed. For some incomprehensible reason, they've put their faith in the man who dropped us into the world full of pain. The other cast-offs who work for the changing God, maybe they believe in the salvation he offers. Might be. They're not idiots in most other things, it's true. But to anyone with eyes, it's clear that he's lying to them, leading them into death because he's too frightened to face it himself. Okay. I have one more thing to say to you, and I want you to mark it carefully. The changing god, the coward, intends to kill us all. If you meet him, don't trust him. He's going to ruin us as surely as the sorrow. She turns and strides away. I'd wish you success, but... Wow, bye! What you said to Paj, you took my side. Why? Does she need my loyalty? Is it a game to her? What? Because I saw what she did in Colne. She nods. Well, whatever. I appreciate it. Always good to see Paj put in her place. You might not realize it, but your words sunk in. I actually was reading somewhere that your characters can either like or not like you. But I don't actually know how you find that out. Oh, he's also leveled up.
Ellie, who drew all over you? It looks like they didn't finish. Or your lines can't make up their mind.
They're in good company then.
You look like a poor man's treasure map. Treasure.
Yes?
Alright, we're all leveled up. I guess we explore the area. I'm assuming... You can't see how to make it function. Okay. So we can't go anywhere else at this point. There's not really much to interact with.
Like a whisper.
Got the Chalcedon here. Just wonder if it's worth talking to people. I mean, I'm sure it is.
Action! Here I come!
Let's just get a lay of the land, huh?
On it.
Okay, there's a Dearest.
Yes.
I mean, this is kind of a nice place.
I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Oh, I'm glad.
All right.
This monument tapers to a narrow point. From a distance, the obelisk appears several meters tall, but when you stand at the foot of it, some kind of optical illusion makes it look as though the obelisk keeps going, rising, narrower and narrower into the wide sky. The moment your fingertip grazes the dagger-like stone, your mind is seized by cold fingers and hurled high into the air. Shreds of clouds whip past, stars break by you and are lost in the void. Ahead, a light blooms, threaded by silvery ribbons of time. You plunge into the light, and a vision of the future unfurls. You see yourself asleep, bundled in blankets, snoring loud enough to tear holes in the sky. Also, you're drooling. The prophetic light fades, leaving you standing before the obelisk once more. You study the monument, frowning. Though the vision felt true, it hardly seemed to have been worth all that effort. Perhaps touching it again will yield different results. Once more, your mind plunges into the open sky, through the grasping void beyond, and into the waiting light that holds vision of the future. You return to the vision of you sleeping, snoring like a Kellerale. Your vision clears, leaving you before the obelisk again. That vision was just as apparently useless as the last, but perhaps this monument has more to show you. You see yourself watching the horizon with a thoughtful expression. No wait, it's just a sneeze. What a mess! You see yourself staring mournfully at a half-eaten bowl of stew. It certainly looks good, but judging by your future self's expression, it was an utter disappointment. I want none of these live truths.
All right. I'm going.
The wind around this structure is oddly moist, and there is a smell you can't identify, an unfamiliar meat perhaps spoiling in the sunlight. And there is something else, an acrid, silent tingling hanging in the air, the feeling of power held in reserve. You reach out to touch the sloping side but hesitate. Strange. The surface is smooth, inviting even, and yet your instincts tell you that something within the structure wants you to touch it, to come inside, to yield and fall to the earth, exposing your softest parts to... You stumble back, shaking your head. Yeah, you don't want to do that. None of us are sure what it is or why the first left it behind. I think it's a last-ditch defense against the sorrow if everything else fails. Others say different. She snorts. Feels nasty enough, doesn't it? I almost want to touch it again. Gritting your teeth, you ignore the repulsive waves pushing at you and firmly place your palm on the structure's surface. Eyesight deserts you and you fall, toppling into bottomless darkness through the clouds of slimy, probing bodies. They pry at your lips, sucking the moisture around your lips, and scrape urgently at your eyelids. Something clutches at your heart and crushes it. It is the last thing you feel.
I'm faltering. I'm hurt.
Whoops. Oh, I mean, I guess it takes me back to my mind, huh? I mean, these are like such painful ways to bring me back here, right? I like tranquility and being put into a trance. That's so much more friendly. I am thinking it might be worth coming back this way. Because I think, from having attempted this before, the idea is to either kill them or paralyze them. So maybe I might leave this for the next video, and maybe my second attempt will be more fruitful. I can live in hope.